4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hello and welcome to the Plain English Finance Podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping you make smart financial decisions. I'm your host, Trey Bino, certified financial planner and chartered investment manager. I'm a financial planner with TCU Wealth Management and Visa Wealth. For more details or to send in your questions, check out the show notes at treybino.ca/podcast. And if you want to learn more about me, start with episodes 1 and 2. Let's get into the 10th episode. So this episode is a few episodes we did budgeting for households between $200,000 and $400,000. This one is between $100,000 and $200,000 for a household. But we can kind of look at it as $200,000 and lower. I'm not really going to focus on the bottom part of that income. Like if you're earning as a household underneath that, you're about to take a lot of principles from it, but there are other things that you probably would want to be working on, or you've made that decision for other reasons, right? Because so $100,000 household income is $50,000 each for a couple.
Yeah. Pretty standard, I'd say.
That's low. No, that's low for sure. That would be like your two people at the very beginning of their career. And honestly, if you're earning below that and you're working full time, then you would really need to be thinking about improving your skill set to get more.
Like increase your income.
Increase your income, yeah. And you do that by increasing your skill set. Like that would be a really hard place to be without any future trajectory to get out of that. Because you'd be working so hard. A lot of those type of jobs, you work so hard for. You remember, like, the worst days?
Yes. I'm thinking about, like, my earlier jobs, and I've said this before, and I'm sure other people can agree. It's like, as I moved up in my career, I'm like, how am I less stressed, getting paid more, have better benefits, enjoy my colleagues more than, like, earlier in my career when I was so stressed, working so hard, making nothing.
Yeah.
It's funny how those early jobs, it doesn't make sense in that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, that aside, so we'll really be focusing on that first 100 to the 200, that type of range. So we did the 200 to 400. What do you think would be different in this range?
Well, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, the more I think about these ranges that you've created, I'm like, what really would be different? The only thing I can think of is planning, like your financial planning, I guess.
Yeah, but like what would be different in their life?
Oh,
Like
different in their life, I guess.
Yeah.
First thing, like I said last time, taxes. Your taxes are going to be different if you're earning less. You're in a different tax bracket, I would say.
You are. Yeah.
You're probably, I don't know, maybe younger. I'm not sure. I'm drawing blanks.
Well, you would have less disposable income.
Oh, yes.
Right? You'd have less disposable income. You are like as a household, this is not a low income. Like the top end of that. Again, we'll focus on like middle of the road, so like $150,000, so like $75,000 each or so. Or somebody earning 100,000 and somebody earning 50. Like this is teacher range.
Okay.
For like a dual income household, this is like a teacher. You're hoping you should be around, like with not going into administration side of teaching, you would be in that low, like high 90s, like between 90 and 100-ish once you've got your degrees and stuff. For most professionals, this would be the, where you'd be hitting early mid-career, like that, around $100,000. There's a lot of career paths. Kind of nurses can make significantly more than that, but that's kind of the range for a very skilled individual, you would expect to hit this early to mid career
Okay.
type of range.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would have a little bit less disposable income. You unfortunately likely will still have all of your like your the influence of society will still definitely be there. And for the longest time, making six figures was like
The goal.
the goal, right? Like it was a big milestone. Unfortunately, those six figures now does not go nowhere near as far as it used to. Like
Yeah.
if you go back 20 years,
You go back
it's a
5 years.
there's a big difference between what a six figure income will now provide you. So you definitely have to make sure that you're intentional about your finances and how you're doing it. What else do you think? Which, as you mentioned, taxes.
Hmm.
You are in a lower tax bracket, and this is also the tax bracket where you will find that again, savers versus spenders. You'll know this at this point, but this is the range where people start to at least consider saving more, maybe putting money into RSPs,
You'd hope.
and then you'd hope, yeah. Um, yeah, putting money into our RSPs. They also have this dilemma. I've seen people, uh, they haven't quite shifted their mindset towards growing and investing for tomorrow versus for retirement. So what you often see is, and this happens across the board, but people will only invest money or build a savings account or portfolio, should I say? They will only build a portfolio for retirement, and that's what they think they're putting their money towards.
Hmm.
So they're hesitant to put money into something like a TFSA or significantly increase their contributions because they think they can't access it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know it might sound strange to you. It's very common that a lot of people go through their entire career, and the only money they put aside for future is for quote unquote retirement.
Really?
Yeah, and don't look too confused. Like it's it's pretty common. Like people say, like save for retirement, save for retirement.
Yeah, I get that.
Um, and yes, think now you're like, well, that would be what do you do with the rest of your money?
Yeah. I'm
But that's
like,
a common problem that people don't know what to do with it, and it's not as clear cut. Um, so people can get into issues that way. This is also the range that like car loans and things like that just kill somebody.
well, I was thinking about when you said less disposable income, I was thinking that's true, but for them, they might be like, now I have more disposable income and now I'm gonna possibly make bad decisions. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this super expensive car and get a loan for it, and now I'm paying how much in interest and like their payments or yeah, for however long, 7 years or whatever.
absolutely. Yeah. So like because what would this I have to think to myself? So let's say we're $75,000 each. This is a couple bringing home 2,000, just over $2,000 a paycheck each. So this is about $8,000 nets coming into their bank account if they've got like a pension, maybe they have like a matching pension,
Yeah.
about $2,000 each, so a paycheck. So yeah, for $8,000 a month that's coming in at this point that you've again, most people are mid kind of career, so they are thinking they want the house,
Yeah.
and then you add on maybe if you have like some kids or something like that, then maybe there'll be a few years there that you will be down to one income or however that works. It's just that you don't have two. It sounds like more than it is.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
I'm thinking too, especially now, like we already said, that it's not the same as it once was, but it really is not as much money as you think, I guess. Or, well, not everybody, but for some people, it might seem like more than it actually is.
Yeah, it just doesn't leave. It doesn't. This income range doesn't leave a ton left over.
Hmm.
And yeah, there'll be people that will obviously survive on less, but for the most part, especially if you want to be driving a new car and you want to go on a vacation every year, which in this type of range, that's kind of what you find. Like that's a lot of people's goals is they want to maybe pay for their kids to go to college or university. So they're putting money aside for that. They also know they should be putting aside, 15% of their income for retirement. So once they do that, then they have a family vacation every year, which family vacation now is, I mean, you're looking at a minimum of like for two kids and two adults, you're looking at a minimum of $6,000 probably.
I honestly, I can't even. I was thinking 10.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
it'll
wrong.
be
I don't know.
no, maybe not as high as depends on what you're doing, of course, but
Yeah.
in this range, it's just that you don't have as much it doesn't go as far as you think it would, especially if you're trying to build something.
Mhm.
So this would just be a range where it'd be again important to make sure that you are budgeting properly, and I will always preach to systematize finances. It makes it so much easier. It reduces stress. It increases the amount of brain power that you can dedicate to other things in life. But in this range, that's definitely the big thing. Another thing that crops up a lot is like insurance policies. So in this range, people want to be rich. That makes
Oh
sense.
yeah.
So that makes them maybe make bad decisions that they wouldn't otherwise make. One of those is the Gordon Ramsay? No, not Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Dave Ramsey, the finance guy.
Gordon Ramsay is the
Gordon
chef,
Ramsay.
isn't it? I
Yeah, I
was
think so.
thinking. I was like, no, that's right. Then yeah, sorry, Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. Well, he off something he talks a lot about is on top of vehicles, is permanent life insurance. Where don't get me wrong, there are some incredible benefits with that. It's just not often in this
Range.
income range.
Mm.
It's not really what it's designed for. Um, but there's traps there, and again, it's just at this point you just want to be safeguarding your cash flow and doing things in the right order. So yes, you can go buy a nicer car for sure. Why not? Just pay for it ahead of time.
Mhm.
You know. Um,
Like, don't get a loan for it.
no, you don't need a loan for it at this range. Like save up for it. Like there's keep the car that you was driving or the same type of car that you was driving when you was earning half this amount and save up and buy the car.
Mhm.
Invest, put money into an investment for the car. Like it's. I think we did the math. It was a few years ago, um, and just the money that instead of putting it into a car loan, just saving it, that $50,000 car, you only had to put in $30,000 of your income to buy that $50,000 car, right? Just because you're investing it as you go. So it's not these type of things are big things that you can do
Mhm.
to
To
help.
say like to safeguard the cash flow,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, to safeguard the cash flow.
So is
And
that
then
the biggest difference then? Like when you say the biggest difference between, I guess, the tactics of budgeting, I want to call it. Does that make sense? Between the 100 to 200 versus the 200 to 400, is there really any difference of what people are doing, or is it just the numbers?
no, you don't have in this range. You don't unless you've been very, very intentional leading up to this. You don't have the free cash to do everything. Um, so you do have to watch the smaller numbers more. So remember, I spoke about something.
Oh, I know exactly. Sorry, I keep doing this though. Explain what you're talking about. It's
Yeah,
that margin thing in the.
yeah, and now I can't remember what it's called either. Materiality. Um, I spoke about materiality, or however you say it. And at this range, it's still very low. The small things still matter. You still do need to be watching what you are spending on food out and eating every
Yeah.
single
I
day.
feel like
You know,
food is like the
food's
worst,
the one of the worst for
like,
people for
culprit.
sure.
I know it is
Yes,
for us even. It's like I always
and
want to
we
overspend on food.
Yeah, and we put money aside specifically, and we don't overspend on it. Let alone somebody that doesn't have the ease of ensuring that they don't overspend
Yeah, like that
on
hard
eating
boundary
out
being
and things
like,
like that.
that's what's in the account, that's what we're spending. There's no other money unless we're paying for it ourselves, I guess, like out of
Yeah,
our own money. But yeah, I know it's crazy because that one is so easy. I don't know. To me, I'm like, that one is so easy to just rack up.
100%. And then for a lot of people, they like shopping and things like that. It's just you absolutely do not have the same free income as you do, and the gap as you do for when you're in that 200 to $400,000 range.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. You don't have the same gap. There's plenty of people that get themselves into a lot of debt in this range because they need the new, they earn 150,000, like even a single person earn $150,000 a year, but I have a house and I have a new car, then I need a camper, and then I need a bigger car to pull the camper, and then I need like some new clothes,
Because I need to
because
look
I'm
like I'm earning
because
150 grand. Yeah.
like, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed and have you suddenly turn around and realize that you have so much going out. And the thing about debt is you have to go backwards on your spending, significantly backwards on your spending to be able to afford to get out of the debt.
Right.
So it takes deep cuts and deep sacrifice. And at this income range, if you have piled your life with things that constantly draw your cash flow,
Mhm.
it's very difficult to do that.
Yeah. Uh,
I would say it's actually more difficult to do it in this range as opposed to like lower ranges.
really?
Because in lower ranges, you've likely not built up your life so much. You likely haven't got all the draws on your cash flow, so it isn't as deep of a cut as as it would be in this range if you've made bad mistakes.
So would you say that like the biggest difference maybe if you're entering into this or you're in this range is almost like a mentality thing is going to be your biggest struggle because it sounds like people are like uh oh now I'm earning six figures so I want to like you said have the nice house, have the car, go on vacation, do all those things. But all those things aren't aren't necessarily even just a one-time cost. They add up. Like they continue drawing money. So is that kind of like the biggest maybe shift for somebody either entering into this range or who might need help budgeting in this range is like you need to make sure you are not falling for I don't know how to say this, like peer pressure from other people. Like, when you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like, oh, that these friends went on this vacation and these friends are doing this with their kid and these friends just bought a house and blah, blah, blah. Like, and then it makes you want it as well. So I'm wondering if that's kind of the biggest shift, even between the 2 to 400 range and a lower range that we're not necessarily talking about. But I think once you hit this range, you're like, I made it big, but you need to remember that things cost a lot more money than you might think. And like, congratulations, but also don't get crazy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head where it's and depending on how you handle the lower ranges also depends on how you have to handle this range as well. Even if your career is going to take you above this, if you spent the lower ranges and didn't save anything and didn't put money aside and made all the excuses not to, well, at this point, you now need to catch up,
Yeah.
you
You're
know?
still going to have to change your behavior in some way.
Just exactly. And that's the difference why I talk about the difference between like somebody that is a saver and somebody that's a spender because I'm telling you now, the person that's a saver will always find a way to save something.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what their income is, they'll find a way to save it. And I know yeah, I get it. There's lots of things that you can spend your money on. There's lots of things that feel like emergencies. There's lots of people that want the money from you. There's lots and lots. There's always lots. But fundamentally, it's a choice. It's a decision that you make.
Yeah.
And if you aren't intentional, it can very easily run away from you. And this is also the range where you know that you should be able to do more, right? Like if you're now 40 years old and you've been earning six figures for the last 10 years and you get to 40 and you're like, holy crap, I, I have $100,000 equity in my house and that's it, and credit card debt and an upside down car loan. Well, you screwed up as well, right? Like you
Yeah.
can look back and be like, oh my gosh, like what did I spend it on? I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So this is also that range where that's very easy to do and it's very common that people do it. You got to fix it. You got to fix it quickly.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and that always comes back down to budgeting, right? So making sure that you're budgeting to make sure that your materiality isn't too high, make sure that you are tracking the smaller expenses, and it's why I know I keep saying this, but why systematizing the way that you handle finances is so important
Hmm.
because it takes away that that unknown, that stress,
Yeah.
that yeah, it takes all that away.
Yeah.
Um,
Just knowing exactly where you're at and where, like, what you can do to get into a better position, I want to say. Like, you're able to do that.
yeah, to a degree. I mean, that's more the planning side, but just the budgeting side, knowing that when you go and spend something, you can actually afford it,
Yeah.
right? Like you're meeting all of your goals. You're not letting your family down. You're not letting anybody that like is relying on you. Like you're comfortable and you're secure. You're not basing your worth on how much money you have in the bank or what stuff you have,
Hmm.
or like you've figured out
Values are?
what your values are, yeah,
Yeah.
and you've aligned your spending to those. And I think that's really powerful and really important for people of all incomes to achieve. But this is the first time where you you have the ability to build stuff. You don't have the ability to make a ton of mistakes in building stuff though.
Hmm.
That's really the difference. And when you look at compounding and how compounding works when it comes to investing and building net worth, it's just this range is you don't you because you also can't catch up a ton in this range either. It's not like, let's say you have kept your income, you're now earning $150,000, and as a household you're spending um like I say, 100, you're earning now $8,000 a month net,
Mm.
and to run your house, it's costing you $6,000, but you're 45 years old and you haven't started saving for retirement. That $2,000 a month is not going to get you very far
Yeah.
at 45 years old to now get to retirement. You have to do something, but you're retiring at 65 and working a little bit to make ends meet. Like it's too late if you only start at that point.
Yeah.
So that's where discipline is really important, even during those lower income years,
Yeah.
right?
And that's not to say people are completely hopeless. Like, just in case someone's out there hearing this being like, well,
No,
I'm
you have
doing
to do something,
yes.
but you also can't make up for lost time.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's just
true. Yeah.
in this income range, you can't. It's not enough to make up for, like, to put it at 45 years old, if you haven't saved anything for retirement and all you can put aside now is $2,000 a month. And don't get me wrong, $2,000 a month is a lot to put aside. 100% it is. It's not going to be enough to catch up from you not investing from the age of 20.
Right. Yeah.
It just never, like, you would, in order for that to happen, you'd have to put a lot more than $2,000 aside just because time makes such a big difference.
Yeah. Well, there's those charts that people like always talk about with compounding interest and stuff where it shows if you start investing like at age 20 and then stopped at a certain point versus someone who starts at 30 and keeps going, the 20-year-old starter still has more at the end kind of
Absolutely.
thing. So yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. I think it's just that um yeah, you can't make up for lost time. It's you'd have to really make some big changes. But again, it's like all of this comes down.
Nah, you can't expect to. I think at that point you have to just accept that the past is the past,
Mhm.
and you now do what you can moving forwards.
Yeah, that's what I
Because
mean. Like,
you will not be able to, no matter how, like in this, you would have to earn more
yeah,
in order to be able to do this.
What about
um,
like, well, I'm thinking
to
you
make
have
up
to
for it.
reduce your expenses somehow too. Like if you're living in a house by yourself, maybe you have to sell the house and rent a room even. Like you might have to drastically reduce your expenses because that like
If you're trying to catch up, but then is the sacrifice worth it, right? Like you've not that you've made your bed, you have to lie in it, but you kind of made your bed, you have to lie in it. Like if you like, yes, you could absolutely for sure. If you're earning $150,000 a year, you could just really, really cut back on expenses. But if up to this point you've been spending it all, that's a big, big cut. And the question would always be, is it better to make that big cut, drastically reduce the quality of your life, or accept that you're going to be working longer? That's the path to, that's what you've been expecting anyway. That's the path you've put yourself on. Maybe I make a few cuts and give myself a little bit more flexibility for those
hmm,
years. You know,
yes.
that's the decision that you would have to make. Or the other one is that you go and you earn more, right? Like
Yeah.
that is the other option. There's been plenty of people that have built businesses, massive, massive
Oh,
businesses, way
crazy.
older than 45,
Yeah.
older than 50. I think when did the KFC guy start? I think he was
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot. I
uh,
remember reading that. Or like
yeah, I can't remember how
Oprah.
old he was.
I want to say Oprah was another person who like started
Was
later.
older. I don't
Oh,
know. There's lots of people that have.
the J.K. Rowling author of Harry Potter. I'm pretty sure she
Was she
was
older?
like, yeah, I think she was like a mom or something and wrote.
Well, that doesn't mean you're a mum. It's not that old.
She was like a
Holy.
mom, you guys.
It's
Just
not
kidding.
that old. Holy. But yeah, no, there's obviously other options, but you like yeah, you just would have to make sacrifices. But anyway, I've
Yeah.
kind of got off topic with that. I did want to really quickly. We will do another episode entirely on the structure of how you should systematize your finances,
Yeah.
but in just a quick summary of it is the key is that you separate your income from your expenses. So the way it should work is that, and there are slight variations that you would make on this depending if you're a couple or single or whatever. But in effect, your your income goes into an income account, and you do not have the ability to spend from that account. So no debit cards connected to it, nothing. This is purely the account where your income goes into it. And then from there, you have like a house account, and your allowance basically for the cost of your life goes into that account. And it's the same amount every single month. And that amount covers your spending money that you want to spend. It covers your cost of living, everything that you know and can foresee in any capacity goes into that account. That's where, for instance, all of our utilities and our mortgage and our life insurance and our food budget comes from that account, and our
Netflix.
spending net, all of it, all anything that you can, our credit card
Fee.
annual fee,
Costco
Costco
membership.
annual, like
Yep.
anything that we know at charitable giving, all of that that you know ahead of time comes from that account. You annualize it when you do a budget for the year, and that amount you set it up so it automatically goes into your house account, and then from your house account there's a few key items that you want to make sure that you control. We already touched on food is a
Yeah.
big one, so we use Coho. So we then transfer the same amount every 2 weeks into Coho, and I have it on my phone. You have it on your phone. We know once the money's gone, it's gone. I think we're currently sitting at $2.50 or something like that
The
in that
weekend is
account.
not going to be fun for us. We don't get more
But
money till Monday, and I'm like, I guess we're eating leftovers.
we have plenty of leftovers. And then you take whatever you've decided again from that house account. Again, you've set it up ahead of time, and that goes into spending account, I guess. And that's where you have your debit card attached to, or if you use a credit card, that's where when you get your statement, you divvy it out into what comes from the house account or what comes from your spending account, and then everything left in the income account goes towards building your net worth, goes towards investing. For us, it goes towards investing, but if you have debt, it would go towards debt. If you have yet to build an emergency fund, it goes towards the emergency fund. Whatever it is, it's separating. The principle is that it separates your income from your expenses.
So
And
people
what
aren't like, oh, I'm making $8,000 a month just to keep it consistent. Um, so that means I can spend XYZ versus like calculating we talk about setting your expenses, not tracking them. I know that's like a
Mhm.
big fundamental thing that you've talked about. Um, so in that case it wouldn't be necessary like you making $8,000 doesn't mean you now spend more just because. It's like you set your lifestyle, you say, okay, these things are important to me. This is what I'm going to spend my money on. This is how much it costs. Okay, maybe it costs $4,000 for us to live. Great. That other $4,000 per month goes in to investing. You don't think about it as, oh, I have 4,000 more dollars to spend.
Yeah.
Right.
You invest, and that's why you're right. Like I say, you set your expenses. Many people go and they say, okay, I'm going to set the amount that I save. They give a dollar figure to it,
Yeah.
and that's the wrong way to do it. You set what you're spending, and everything else goes into investing. And you can always access that. And that's something that, again, that's why I mentioned earlier, like people think that you can only put money away for retirement. It's like, no, if I needed to go get $20,000 tomorrow, it would not come from a savings account. I would take it from our portfolio.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that I've put money in there. It's been in there so long now that even in a market crash, it's still worth more than we put it than what it was when we put it in.
Mhm.
Like it's been the right way to do it throughout the last 100 years.
Yeah.
So the chances are pretty good that even in a down, which markets are down what 20% of the time the math works out to or so. It's the better way to approach it. It means you're not sitting on a bunch of cash, but more importantly, it means that you are not just spending for the sake of it. And it doesn't mean you don't spend. The numbers can be whatever you want, and as your income goes up, your numbers that you allocate to spending on whatever you want will go up. It's just a decision.
Mhm.
You've been intentional versus it just happening and you looking back and being like, oh, where did that money go? It's like,
Yeah.
no, you made these decisions. You should be happy with the decisions that you've
Yeah.
made, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key, is because in this range, your income will still go up. But if you can cap your expenses and make that intentional and make that specific, you're off to the races. It's easy. It's easy from there. So that's the fundamentals of how you would budget. But you do that for all income levels, including this one. It's just really nailing the fact that, no debt, no consumer debt, big one here.
Yeah.
If you can increase your income and add different income sources, that'd also be a really good thing to be able to do in this income.
Like a
I
passive
was,
income even.
yeah, like, and it's not truly passive, but
Yeah.
like building an investment portfolio, guess what? That's more income. That's your money working for you, giving yourself income.
Yeah.
I always say like rental property is also a great way to do it, but you have to buy the rental property with rental properties in mind. There's a lot of properties that are not great rental properties, and also don't be a bad landlord. Like there's more than enough slumlords around. Like if you're gonna, we've basically said that if we are not willing to live there, we're not willing to own it.
Yeah.
So it's like we again, and this, but this, if you run your finances in a systematized way, then when there's repairs that need to be done, you can just do the repairs, right?
Yeah.
You're not having to. But anyway, that's a different topic. I'm sure we'll do a podcast episode on that because
Rob.
that bugs me. I feel like if it's you, anyway, whatever. Um, so yeah, they're the core things that I would say for this range. There's just some really big middle class traps, I guess,
Mhm.
that I would say, and car loans, credit card debt. It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You don't have the same problems as the higher income because the banks aren't just going to give you whatever you want, pretty much. You're not going to be able to go get $2 million worth of real estate that you have to pay, like personal real estate between your house and your cabin, right? You're not going to be able to do that in
Yeah.
this type of income. But as soon as you add in a cabin into your life, that's a very expensive purchase for this income range. Even if you both are earning, you know, if you're earning 150 to $180,000 to 200 even, and you're like, okay, we have a good income. $8,000 doesn't go very far when $1,900 of it is going to your main mortgage, and then another $1,500 is going to your cabin mortgage, on top of all the property taxes and the
Utilities and
utilities, and now trying to still save for retirement, and to, like, it goes very quickly. You're gonna feel like you have no money left because you don't have any money left. Um, so
it's not how it feels.
it's truth. You can't do everything. If you're gonna try to do a annual vacation abroad with the family, you probably can't afford a cottage as well in this income range. So don't try. It's just yeah. So yeah, there's a few things that you'd want to focus on and keep in mind, but budgeting really doesn't change a whole lot. The way that you do it is just you still need to be paying attention to the small numbers. You still want to be systematizing it. That's going to be a staple of what you should be doing.
Yeah. Don't fall for the traps. Be
Don't fall for the
intentional.
traps.
Remember
Yeah,
that, like, I want to say don't fall for lifestyle inflation, or like, what do they call it? Keeping up with the Joneses.
yeah.
Basically, like, don't look at everybody else and think, well, oh, they're making the same as me. Like, I should be able to do that as well. No, that is
Espe-
a red flag, because you have
yeah,
no idea what's going on behind the scenes.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I wish people walked around with a net worth symbol above their head, because I am telling you now, the people that you think are killing it, doing really well, and because they have fancy stuff
Or do fancy
or
things.
do fancy things, I wish you knew.
Yeah.
I wish you could see what I see. Like, uh, and it's just, it is not the case.
Yeah.
There are people that I know that drive around with six-figure cars and stuff like that, and they have a significantly lower net worth than we do. And it's just like, to me, that would terrify me doing that. Like that. Imagine your biggest asset being your car that you still own $80,000 on. Like,
Even the fact that you just
wild.
called it an asset is like shocking
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
gross enough. Yeah, it's yeah. But and this is the range that that type of thing crops up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's everything for. We'll cut it there anyway.
Mhm.
If you do have any comments, let me know. Send me an email. If you think I missed anything. But
Let us know.
yeah, I think that's it. Okay, I will see you in the next one, where I think we'll do the last group, which was that $400,000 plus range, because that there is a lot more that you can think about, and a lot more of it comes towards like optimizing and really making sure that you budgeting principles stay the same, but you can really grow fast, I
Yeah.
guess, and build us. If you don't get overwhelmed with it, I guess you can build things very fast. The downside is typically in this income range, it meant that you either have done a lot of schooling, something like medical professionals, or you've built a business. And as every business owner will know, um, business can be very scary. So it may always feel like you're one really bad thing from happening, like to having to need a bunch of cash and things like that. Unfortunately, that's kind of the risk of being a business owner, is that you will always feel like that to some degree. But
Trey, always the realist.
yeah, but nailing taxes, nailing how you manage your personal money, because you likely have the choice of how much money to pull personally versus leave inside of a corporation or trust, or like you have other things that you could be thinking about. But honestly, the budgeting, how you budget your day-to-day personal finances, doesn't really change much. It's
Yeah.
just the numbers get bigger, and I encourage people to have the numbers get bigger.
Yeah.
There is a balance to be had. And I'm talking to the people that are like me, that would just great, and you would just put it all aside instead of actually spending it. So same thing that I've done for us. It's like we have money to spend. That money doesn't go, I don't put it back into investments. It's like it's to spend. So, and that's an important part to do as your income. If your income is in this level, you want to make sure that you are enjoying it and spending it, and you know,
Safely, of course.
for sure, you still need to do all the other things,
I
but
think the biggest thing for that group, I mean, we are going to talk about it later, so I shouldn't go into detail, but I just wanted to say is that they would still need a budget. I think that's people have this idea that once they hit a certain, I don't know why, it's like once they hit a certain figure, like the budget
it's
is.
because they don't understand what a budget
I
is.
think people get really bogged down with the idea of budgeting.
Yeah,
But
they want to be able to spend regardless, and just
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
they're
And
just
it's
like,
like,
woo, like, oh, I want a Starbucks right now and I can just do whatever I want. And like, you can, but you have to plan for it. And some people, like, or you could just say, I'm going to have like this certain amount for spontaneous money. Like, some people are more spontaneous than other people. They don't want to plan every inch of their life, and that's totally fine. You just have to plan one
the
part.
category.
Yeah, the category. Yeah.
That's what you do at any. As I said, the numbers can get bigger. It's just you still want it to be like a something that you've decided and a decision that you've made. Because as much as getting to 5, 10, $15 million net worth is a these are big numbers, there is always somebody with more,
Mm-hmm.
and there is you'd be surprised how easily it can be spent if you let yourself go down that path.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, boats get very expensive. Cars can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and you can afford it at this range if you can afford it at this range.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you go too fast, you can't. But anyway, we will get to that in the next episode. So I'll see you in that episode.
Bye.
Bye.